That's how you win a hockey game. The Pittsburgh Penguins win in regulation 2-1 over the New York Islanders in Game 2 of the first round of the 2021 playoffs. That is a huge relief. So let's get a few things started. No Evgeny Malkin in this game. Tristan Jarry starts again, and Semyon Varlamov is back for the New York Islanders. Pittsburgh Penguins had a much better energy to this game, and they played probably one of the best games in a long time. And I think it's safe to say that they finally cracked that playoff curse that they seemingly had over their head for the past 3 years. I think the Penguins needed this game, not just because they didn't want to go 2-0 down going into Nassau, but I think just for their spirit, just to prove that they could beat these guys in regulation. Now, that's not to say that the Islanders played bad, not even close. The Islanders played... they played Islanders hockey. They played some great hockey, and at times they looked in the driver's seat, and I thought they could easily take this game and win it. But number 35, he looked completely different than he did in Game 1. Tristan Jarry was an absolute brick wall tonight. That is one of the best performances I have seen by a Pittsburgh goaltender in a long time. There were at times where it didn't even look possible that he could make a save. It was an insane performance, and frankly, the only goal that Tristan Jarry really let in tonight, man, that was a good shot. Josh Bailey, props to Josh Bailey. That backhander was Crosby-esque. Speaking of Crosby, another brilliant game from the captain. Do we even need to keep saying his name? We already know what he's going to bring to the table, yet he somehow manages to surpass expectations. Interesting notes for tonight's game. Obviously, with Evgeny Malkin being out of the lineup, that means Jeff Carter's line would have to play some big minutes tonight, and they didn't look that good in Game 1, aside from Kasperi Kapanen. Man, this game, they really turned it up a notch. I thought Jared McCann, Jeff Carter, and Kasperi Kapanen skated well. I thought they were composed. I thought they played a great offensive and defensive game. Nothing but praise for that line. And Jeff Carter, power move to the front of the net. You can't really get slot shots against the Islanders, but man, Jeff Carter, that was a huge goal. Semyon Varlamov didn't really look super comfortable in the first period where the Penguins scored 2 goals. The Jeff Carter goal might have been a bit of an exception. I think Adam Pelech was more to blame for that goal, but I think the Brian Rust goal, if that is saved by Varlamov, I think this game is a completely different outcome. And the Penguins definitely did get lucky that Varlamov did come into this game cold and looked a little shaky, but we take victories when we can get them, no questions asked. So a few negatives to go off of this game. I thought the Penguins lost a bit of control of this game around the halfway, let's say early third period mark. I thought the Islanders really did a good job turning up the tempo. When Brian Dumoulin goes down, I think we all sort of shiver in fear a little bit. But of course, the Islanders capitalize and create a bunch of momentum and have a bunch of zone time. And the Penguins were lucky to escape from that period of time without giving up a goal. Thankfully, Tristan Jarry, like I said, had an amazing game and decided to play like Superman and not let the Islanders score. That being said, in terms of the Islanders scoring, at some point you're going to expect Barzal and Eberle to have a great game. They've been really quiet this series. The Penguins have done a really good job shutting them down, but at the same time, at some point they're going to get that puck and they're going to score. For the Penguins to have a real shot at winning the series, I think shutting the Islanders down in the second period is going to be an impactful factor. The second period was all Islanders. They try to survive the onslaught that the Penguins throw at them at the first period, and unfortunately for this game, it didn't really play in their favor. They gave up 2 goals and went into the second period down 2. Now, when Josh Bailey scores that goal, you can sort of see that the momentum is building for the Islanders. If it weren't for Tristan Jarry, that second period would have steamrolled the Penguins. The Penguins looked really flat in that period, and I think the short change for the Islanders in the offensive zone really helps their play. The Penguins really had a hard time getting the puck into the offensive zone in that second period. Being able to cycle fresh guys is a huge part of the Pens game, and if they're not able to do that, obviously the Islanders are going to be able to capitalize, and they definitely did to an extent, but didn't get the goals that their efforts probably deserved them. Speaking of goal scoring chances, Penguins had a couple power plays tonight. Oliver Wahlstrom going to the box back-to-back times. Unfortunate for the youngster. The Penguins really didn't look that great on the power play. It was a bit unfortunate based off of how good they looked everywhere else on the ice. The power play needs to start going. They haven't scored a power play goal this series. Sooner or later, that's going to bite them. Thankfully, the Islanders didn't get their chance going either. But we also know that the Islanders have a really good penalty kill, and at home, it's even better. So, I mean, we're just going to wait and see what happens with this. I'm not really sure what the Penguins can do on their power play other than just keep doing what they're doing and try to get something. It's just sort of a shame that they're running into such a strong penalty killing team. It's disappointing, to say the least. You just got to hope that you're going to get the goal scoring elsewhere if the power play is not going to be able to click. When the Islanders had their 6-on-4 chance at the end of the game, it didn't look great either. I thought the Penguins did a really good job. I think they could taste the victory with the empty net there too. But the Islanders power play has been completely flat. It's just a case of two really good penalty kills right now. We'll see what happens in New York. Not really sure how to predict the power play situation on both ends of the ice. The Islanders or Penguins could get their power play going, and we might just get a huge shootout in one of the next games here in New York, but we'll wait and see. A player that has been getting a lot of attention, rightfully so, number 13, Turbo Brandon Tanev. What a game his fourth line had tonight. That line is the Brandon Tanev line. I'm flat out that's going to be the Brandon Tanev line because they played a great game, and Brandon Tanev is just an absolute machine. I don't know how this guy can skate as hard as he does, and how every single time he goes on the ice, you know exactly what you're going to get. Turbo is a completely invaluable tool to this team, and I think that without him, they look a completely different team. Brandon Tanev was really, really involved in this game. He got in the face of a bunch of Islanders players, chirping, yapping. He almost got a goal diving onto the ice, crashing into Varlamov. He's so fast. He brings so much energy. He's a great penalty killer, and he'll get you a goal or two, and he's just such a great tool and such a great energy player. Nothing but praise for Turbo. And of course, the elephant in the room, we have to address the Brian Rust penalty. It's a pretty good swing, though. It's a pretty good throw, I gotta say. Obviously, you can't put your hand on the puck and close it like a goalie, but you know, when you're in a situation like he was in, you don't really think, do you? But besides that goofy penalty from Rust, the goal he got in the first period was a huge part of why the Penguins won this game, and nothing but praise for the Rusty Razor. So, to sum up, the Penguins are going to go into New York with a 1-1 series, and hopefully they can keep playing their game. And we know how the Islanders like to play, and Mike Sullivan and his coaching staff have had a lot of time to analyze these past two games now. Hopefully the Penguins go into New York and they get the job done, and they're able to come back to Pittsburgh with some sort of series lead. If you come back to Pittsburgh with a 2-2 series, I think that's also not even a bad thing. But I think if you come in back to Pittsburgh down in the series, not a good look. The New York Islanders have one of the best home crowds in the NHL, in my opinion, and we're definitely going to feel that one going into Game 3. Hopefully when the Penguins go into Nassau this time around, they don't go in with a bad mindset, and they don't go in getting intimidated. It's definitely the easiest thing and the most likely outcome for teams going into Nassau, especially during playoff time, but it's going to be crucial that the Penguins stay focused and not get rattled by the Islanders. That being said, I think I've summed up my feelings pretty well. Happy to say that the Pittsburgh Penguins have won a playoff game, and they're not going to get swept again by the Islanders. So as always, that's all for me. Thanks for watching.